We get Inter and Napoli going head-to-head in Serie A.
Top 4 matchups in La Liga and Bundesliga, and it's an FA Cup weekend for the Prem, but they did have a midweek matchup. We'll talk about that. All this and more in this episode 48 of the No Business Soccer Podcast. Snooze, kick us off.
Let's dig in. Yes. And we got the full fam today. Actually, Danny P just dropped off, so I don't want to break the fourth wall, but he did. I'm starting off and lying to our people already. But either way, thanks for joining again, everybody. I am your host, Snooze, and this is the No Business Soccer Podcast. And of course, no Danny P tonight. He's getting started on some other stuff. Don't worry, he will be back soon. But we do have J-Fam the Brainiac on the ones and twos today, and of course, we're all here for Hype Man Vic. Hype Man, what you sipping on, dog?
Tell you what I got today. I forgot I had this bottle because it's been a long time. But this is Penelope's. They call it Takai cask, but it looks like Takagi cask finished. It's finished in Takai wine cask, and it's absolutely amazing. The finish on this lasts 3 to 5 business days. Is you just keep tasting it. It's very viscous. It's amazing, and it's what I'll be enjoying today. So.
Damn, that's the first one that I hear you talk about, and I want. I want to try that one. Did I try that one?
No, you tried the. Actually, I think you did. Actually, now I think about it,
maybe I can't remember. What to do it again? See, my taste buds. I know what's up. Before we jump in, I just want to let everyone know that we're going to be covering 3 leagues and then also doing a midweek matchup for the Prem. I mean, obviously, Hype Man just said all that too, but just to remind everyone, because it's going to be probably a short podcast this week. We'll find out, but we want to get everyone hyped up for the weekend. And I know we're going to go to Serie A first, but over to you, Vic, for a little.
Yeah, if you guys. Yeah, for sure. Everybody, be sure to like and subscribe to the video. It's the best way to support us. Follow us on all of our social medias. Everything's at No Business Soccer Podcast, except for TikTok and for X. I keep wanting to call it Twitter, but X. All that is at No Biz Sock Pod. I'm going to probably call it Twitter still, but that's at No Biz Sock Pod. So be sure to follow us. And I think actually we're not going to go to the Prem first. You don't want to talk about the midweek matchup, or are we doing Serie A? We can do Serie A.
Doesn't matter. You tell me.
Let's keep our producer guessing. To Serie A.
Yeah, we're like water, right? That's what
Bruce Lee said.
Bruce Lee says, yes, thank you.
Like water.
I kept wanting to say Kevin Lee, but I mean he is a fighter, but he's the wrong Lee. Okay. Well, we got Serie A match day 27 on deck. And before we jump into that, Vic, let's give them a reminder of the table and where everything sits going into the weekend.
Yes, sir. Just like we said last time, Inter are the new number 1. They have 57 points. They got to leapfrog Napoli coming off their loss. Napoli have 56 points now in the second spot. Atalanta round out the top 3. I don't know why I said that. I usually say that for 4, but Atalanta are in the third spot with 54 points. And then rounding out our top 4 is Juventus with 49 points, also on a 4-game win streak. They're hoping to climb those rankings, and I don't know, they could be a little dark horse there for
right now, man.
Getting that number 1 spot. Yeah, they're on fire. But tickling the top 4 is Lazio. They have 47 points, and then welcome Bologna to the European tournament spots. They are number 6 now. They just had a midweek matchup. Match day 9 makeup game against Milan just today, or if you're watching this yesterday, I mean, obviously you're watching this yesterday on Thursday, and they got the win and now are in a European tournament spot in the number 6 spot with 44 points. But who is not in the 6th spot or anywhere near European tournament spot is Empoli. They are in the 18th spot. They have 21 points on a 4-game losing streak. Right behind them is Venezia, who still managed to salvage their badge on the table because they are not in last. They have 17 points in the 19th spot. And then, boy, oh boy, poor Monza still have 14 points coming off their loss. And, not looking good for them. They are holding up the rest of the table. Let's go ahead and take a look at the matches we have coming up this weekend. What do you got for us, Snooze?
Yes, sir. On Friday, we kick things off with our Fiorentina getting a home match with Lecce. And they come to this match hanging on to that. Well, they were hanging on to the 6th spot. Obviously, we had the makeup match, so no longer hanging on to the 6th spot. They're out of the European places right now after 3 straight losses in Serie A, that's crazy. Lecce need a win as their gap to the relegation spots is now only 4 points. So both teams coming in with something to play for. On Saturday, we get Atalanta. They're still in the mix for their first Scudetto ever as their last couple of results have been, we'll see. But they get Venezia in Bergamo this weekend. Venezia aren't too far back from getting their head above the line, and I'm sure they'd love to get a point from this one. It's another clash for all the marbles as Napoli take on Inter in Naples. We'll talk about this one more in a second. And we also get mid-table Udinese, and they're going against relegation-threatened Parma. Both teams come off of wins last weekend, but Udinese are in a pretty good run of form recently as they've only lost once in their last 5 matches. On Sunday, bottom of the table Monza get mid-table Torino, who, like Udinese, are in a pretty good run of form lately and are always led by that stone wall in the back, Milinkovic Savage. Another mid-table team clashes sees Genoa get Empoli at home. Empoli have completely lost it. They're falling down. They're gone. 11 straight Serie A matches. Failing to win in 11 straight matches with 9 of those 11 being losses. Empoli are just horrible, but Genoa mid-table, they, trying to stay right there. Bologna have some momentum coming into their match against Cagliari after beating Milan 2-1 on Thursday. With Bologna starting off the weekend in the top 6, they'll be looking to take all 3 points faux show. They're there for the first time in a while, and they're trying to stay. Como's tough run of matches continues as they go to Rome to take on Roma. Roma haven't lost in their last 10 Serie A matches, which is crazy to think about since Claudio Ranieri took over. The last team they lost to, though, was Como back on December 15th, and both sides have grown a lot since then, and this is my sleeper pick for the weekend. Como, they're tearing it up right now. Milan get Lazio at San Siro, and both teams are on dodgy form at the moment, but Lazio have only lost once in their last 5. I don't know who I'd put money on. Honestly, both teams are kind of up and down. They're starting to slip, but Lazio are starting to slip in those European spaces, and I really think they need to get 3 points more than Milan. Milan are just trying to figure out who the hell they are. On Monday, we get Juve, and they get a great chance to make it 5 wins off the bounce as they get Verona at home. Verona are coming off of that win over Fiorentina last time out, but Juve are just on another level right now. And with that said, let's break it down a little bit, Vic. The Napoli versus Inter match, it's 1 versus 2. And as you mentioned, Inter took advantage of Napoli's shock loss to Como last weekend and went ahead of them at the top of the Serie A table. And looking at Napoli's last 4 results, they've only got 3 draws and a loss, but Inter aren't much better, honestly. You would think that looking at the top 2, that they'd be a little bit better in form, but Inter only have 2 wins in that same time frame with 2 losses and a draw to go with those 2 wins. And it's safe to say that both teams aren't coming into this match firing on all cylinders, but you would have to put money on Inter at this point because, Napoli, 4 results in a row that they haven't won. And, by the way, I think the biggest winner here is that Atalanta, because they're only 2 points off of Napoli and 3 off of Inter at the top of the table. So both teams really need 3 points. But if there's a draw and Atalanta gets a win, we could be looking at a really, really tight Scudetto race coming down to the line. And not to mention Juve, they have an easier matchup than everyone this weekend. And they aren't too far off. We wouldn't have said that a few weeks ago, but the way they've kind of turned things around, man, they're starting to look like what'd you say, dark horse? Yes, dark horses to me.
You never know.
So this one's a massive matchup. It was already going to be a match with title implications, but now that's ratcheted up to 100, and I can't wait for this one. This one's going to be a lot of fun. I don't know if we're going to see a lot of goals, I think the fact that both teams are coming in not as their perfect selves as they were earlier this season kind of makes it a little bit more mysterious. You know what I mean? I don't know what the hell's going to happen. I would put money on Inter, though. Who you got?
Yeah, I think I got to go with Inter right now just because they're pretty much the hottest hand right now. But, man, Napoli looked so good earlier this year. I still don't know if they looked as good as Inter this year. But, man, it's going to be really close. But I got Inter, and I don't think they're going to be many goals. Probably 1-0, maybe 2-1 if things pop off. You know what I mean? Yeah. But what's crazy is man, we got a 1 versus 2 match here. I think in Bundesliga we have 2 versus 3. The Prem just had 1 versus 5 at the time. And then La Liga has 3-4, right? 3 versus 4. We got some banger matchups this weekend. Yeah. It's gonna be great.
I'm telling you, they're and it's like later in the season, so the matches, if this match is in the fall, it's not a big deal, right? But these matches now, it's like, okay, like there's some pressure, there's some stakes. So I'm looking forward to that match, and actually, we're looking forward to that Como Roma match too. Like there's some good matchups this weekend in the Serie A.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I think that about wraps it up for Italy. I think we should move on over to España now. What do you think?
Let's do it. To La Liga. Smooth.
Oh, yes. And go ahead and tell us what that table looks like after match day 25, going into match day 26 this weekend, Vic.
Yes. So Barcelona are still on top. They have 54 points with their win. Tied with them is Real Madrid in the number 2 spot. They also have 54 points. Of course, Barcelona have a giant goal differential right now. They have 42 goal differential, so that's going to keep them in the number 1 spot as long as they have the same amount of overall points in the table. In the 3rd spot is Atletico Madrid, or Atleti. They have 1 point. They are 1 point behind the top 2 with 53 points, also looking good, coming off a win. And then rounding out the top 4 is Atletico Bilbao, or just Bilbao. They have 48 points, a clear 5 points behind them, but still looking very competitive. And that matchup we're going to talk about pretty soon is going to put them to the test. Tickling the top 4, as we say, is Villarreal. They have 44 points, also coming off a win. All top 5 teams got a win this past weekend, so looking pretty strong there up top. And the opposite of strong is Valencia. They are in the 18th spot. They have 23 points. 1 point right behind them is Deportivo Alaves. They have 22 points. And then on the bottom of the table, holy guacamole, my voli-dolies, Real Valladolid have 15 measly points. All 3 of the bottom teams doing their best to stay on the bottom. All got losses this past weekend. And not looking too good. But like I said, we do have some banger matchups this week. Tell us a little bit about them, Snooze.
Yes, we do. And we start off on Friday. It's an important as F matchup. Can I say it? Like as fuck? Yeah. I don't know. Can we say that? We have to bleep it out if we can't. But it's an important matchup in the relegation battle as 17th Las Palmas take on Valladolid. Vic's Voli-Doli have lost 6 straight, with Las Palmas having lost 4 straight. So this is a terrible time to get each other, or a great time, depending on how you view it. I mean, neither team comes in with a lot more momentum than the other, so it is what it is. On Saturday, a descending Girona side who sit in 13th take an ascending side in Celta Vigo, who are now at mid-table mark after only losing once in their last 5. It's been a hugely disappointing season for Girona, but a win here gets them back to the mid-table spot, and they'll be looking to do that for sure. Rayo Vallecano continue their run of tough opponents, with Sevilla coming to town. Sevilla are typically a European place finisher, but in a down year, they find themselves mid-table. And I don't know if my heart can still believe that Rayo can win this one. I was going with them for 2 weeks in a row, and they disappointed me. I don't know if I can do it for a 3rd time. Betis welcome Real Madrid to town, and Betis have more wins in their last 5 matchups than Real do. But, man, Real's attackers, they're just starting to click, and they are looking like nobody can stop them, except maybe Liverpool in the Champions League. We'll find out. But either way, this is going to be a good match, a good test. Of course, Anthony, I heard he got sent off last time for a red. I saw a video where he was saying like he got overturned, so he can play this weekend. We'll find out. Atletico Madrid get a home date with Athletic Club de Bilbao, and this one's got me hype, and I'll talk more about why I'm hyped for this one in a second. On Sunday, Leganes find themselves in the thick of a relegation battle, and they get the team with the 2nd best defense in all of La Liga in Getafe. Yeah, that's crazy. And that defense has helped carry Getafe to a 14th place. Well, not finished, but 14th place in the table, with a 6-point gap to Leganes in 16th. 3 points either way is huge when you see the way that table's lined up that Vic was just showing us. It's another good one as Barcelona get Real Sociedad at home. It's bad timing for La Real, though, as they are looking for some consistency with positive results after losing 3 of 5, while Barca are on fire with 5 straight wins in La Liga. European hopefuls Mallorca take on 19th Alaves, with teams directly above them in the table having much tougher matchups this weekend. Mallorca got to take advantage here and get all 3 points, because I want to see them in the Champions League spots, or not Champions League, at least in Europe, if Rayo can't get it done. So, one of those. Let's find out. Then we get Valencia, who will be chomping at the bit to get back out there after a 3-0 loss to Atleti last time out. And they go on the road to take on middle of the table Osasuna. Osasuna have struggled recently as they've only won once in their last 5 matches. So this is a good opportunity for Valencia. 5th place Villarreal take on 15th Espanyol on Monday, and they get that match at home. And even though Espanyol have only lost once, 1 out of 5 recently, Villarreal are a tough task to get points off of, and it's really hard to see them getting that done. Okay, the match that we're all talking about, Vic, is the Atleti and Bilbao matchup. In a couple of reasons why I'm really excited for this one. Atleti coming to this only winning 2 of their last 5 in La Liga, but they're still only a point off of Barcelona at the top of the table in La Liga. So, I mean, we've really seen what they're capable of whenever they went on that ridiculous run, probably a month ago, where it was like 15, like whatever.
Crazy.
But the thing is that Bilbao have been right there in the shadows, lurking the entire time, and nobody's talking about them, because even though Atleti had that long run of wins in a row, Bilbao, they're currently in 4th, right behind Atleti in 3rd, and they're only 5 points behind them. And so nobody's really giving them any props or attention as title contenders, and that's probably because they haven't been as flashy as the teams above them. But what Bilbao are, they are consistent, and they're always getting results, and it's kind of showed. There's, like I was saying, they're kind of like that team that's just there all the time, and now they're kind of getting a lot more wins than they usually do. And speaking of Bilbao's playmakers, and the reason why you should be excited for this matchup is because they have a top 3 goal scorer in La Liga with Oyhan. It's hard to say that name, but is his last name. So he's a top 3 goal scorer in La Liga, tied for 3rd, but whatever. And the second best in assists is also Iñaki Williams. Anyway, that's crazy to me that we don't talk about them as a team that's very dangerous, but when you look at that, they are a dangerous side. And if they win and close the gap to 2 points with Atleti, this is now a 4-horse race. I mean, honestly, right now it's 3, but if they win this match, they can't be a draw. It has to be a win. I really see them kind of getting into that conversation where a few matches go their way, and they could be in for a good title. Well, I don't say title run, because that makes it seem like I think they're going to win it, but you know what I'm saying? Like they have a good chance. And now I know Atleti will probably suffocate the game and win it 1-0 or something crazy like that, but I really don't know how this one's going to end, and I wouldn't put money on either team, honestly, but it's just going to be a fun night in Madrid, and man, I'm excited for it. I'm excited. Vic, who you got?
Man, this one's going to be pretty close. You got Bilbao and Atleti, number 4 and 5 in goals for this year, with 86 all between them, 44 for Bilbao and 42 for Atleti. But I mean, Atleti has pretty good defense, man, and even though it might be a banger against other teams, it's going to be hard to say. I mean, it's going to be a banger for this team, even though Atleti has that defense. And man, for what team, it's going to be hard to go either way. I think it might be like 2-2, I think. I'm pretty sure.
Wow. Okay. I would hope so. Because when I think of this match, I think of it as a low scoring, like a 1-0, 2-1, or a 1-1 draw, something like that. Like there's no more than 3 goals in my mind. But either way, man, I think that I obviously want to see some of them, or both of them really, pushing Barcelona and Real Madrid for the title. Yeah. But if Bilbao get it done, then they're right there, and it's legitimately 4 teams that are in that title race in La Liga, which, I mean, that's crazy. That would be awesome. So,
I mean, imagine imagine Atleti won and Barcelona and Real Madrid fumble this week. You just Atleti number 1. That'd be crazy. Right?
Yeah, I know. Exactly.
Even if they draw, like in Atleti wins, that'll be number 1. That'd be pretty crazy.
Man, and it's funny because we were talking about how a couple weeks ago, seeing Bilbao in the Champions League is something they've only done like once or twice in their history. And so I was like, yeah, that'd be pretty cool if they finish, 4th, and then they're just like still there and still winning and catching up to these teams that were above them. And now it's like, oh shit, they're like, they might be fringe. Yeah. Dark horse. We have Juve as a dark horse. We have Bilbao as a dark horse. Fun season, man. Fun season.
Oh,
so,
yeah.
Anyway,
it's getting good.
Okay. Well, that's about it for La Liga, I think. Moving on down to Germany.
Let's do it. To Bundesliga. I need more German beers. Every time I hear that, I want a German beer, and I don't have them.
We got to go to Wahlberg, man. That place is awesome.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Last time we ruined it for us. Last time though, on my birthday we went, and I went to go get barbecue with this guy beforehand. I mean, in our defense though, it was like 8 hours before but we were still so full.
So full.
Oh man, that was yeah. We need to redo. And before my birthday, so
got it. I got nothing but time now, so.
Well, give us an update on what that table looks like.
So
coming into matches before.
Yeah, I'll be getting in trouble. Looking at the table, Bayern Munich is still on top. The top three are kind of very far and apart. Not the best for excitement, but it is pretty. They're pretty set, and I'm sure their supporters are happy. But Bayern Munich are number one. They have 58 points. Behind them is never losing Leverkusen in the number 2 spot. They have 50 points, a clear 8 points behind number 1. And then another clear 8 points behind them is Eintracht Frankfurt with 42 points. And then a cool 3 points behind them. So, until they get a little bit closer there in the mid-table. Actually gets really close right behind number 4, Freiburg, who have 39 points, because tickling the top 4 is Mainz, who have 38 points. And then in the 6th spot with 38 points as well is RB Leipzig, who go against each other this week. And we'll bring that up here in just a second. But taking a look at the top of the table, let me do this real quick. I didn't do it before here, but the points separating Freiburg and number 9, Borussia Mönchengladbach, are 5 points. There's a lot to go up and try to get in that area for these teams and try to get in these European tournament spots. So that's going to be interesting. Maybe not as interesting as, changing the top 3, but we'll see. We'll see what happens. It's going to be
that's what we have to look forward to, though, because in the Prem and in the Bundesliga, like, the title races are wrapped up. So we're like looking at the placement jockeying for Europe now, and yeah, that's still fun. We get to see who we're going to be watching in Europe next year.
Yeah, but the 2 teams we don't have to worry about at all in European tournaments next year are, for right now, Bochum at number 17. They have 15 points. Heidenheim is in the 16th spot. They also have 15, but Bochum has a negative 25 goal differential. Given the lower hand, not the upper hand. In that, so, but behind them, holding up the rest of the table, is Holstein Kiel. They're in the 18th spot with 13 points and doing their best to stay in last. As while Heidenheim and Bochum had a draw this past week, Holstein Kiel had a loss. So doing their best to stay in the bottom, or at the bottom bottom of the table. This whiskey's already kicking in. Let me relax here a little bit. But like we said earlier, we have some banger matchups. This week we have a number 2 versus number 3. Snooze, tell us about this match, or all the matches, and then that match.
Yeah, that's the one we're talking about. But we start off the Bundesliga weekend on Friday. Stuttgart find themselves outside of the European places as they welcome Bayern Munich to town. And Bayern have had a couple of tough matchups in a row with Leverkusen and Eintracht, and they passed both those tests pretty much with ease. So it's hard to see them slipping up here. On Saturday, we get Bremen coming into their matchup with Wolfsburg off the back of 3 consecutive losses, while Wolfsburg, although they have just won once in their last 5 Bundesliga matches, they haven't lost since facing Bayern Munich last month. So they've only won once in their last 5 matches, but they haven't lost since facing Bayern Munich, is what I was trying to say. There's a lot of people that lose to Bayern. Newsflash. It's 5th versus 6th when Mainz go on the road to play Leipzig, and this one's my sleeper pick for the Bundesliga weekend. Both teams have so much to play for in terms of European placement, and Mainz come in on better form than Leipzig, but Leipzig have that odd dominant game in them every once in a while, so we don't know who's going to win this one. It's going to be fun to watch. A big relegation scrap sees Bochum take on Hoffenheim, and you would think that Hoffenheim has the edge here with the form they've been in, but actually Bochum have been in better form recently, which makes this one all the more interesting. Heidenheim broke their streak of losses with the draw last weekend, and they get mid-table Gladbach this weekend. Before losing last weekend, though, Gladbach were in terrific form, and you would expect them to pick that back up after slipping up against Augsburg last time out. Dortmund randomly decided to whoop some ass last weekend in a 6-0 win over Union, and now they get a team even lower in the table in St. Pauli. And I don't know if we'll ever see Dortmund look that good like they did last weekend, but I do expect them to get 3 points here. And then we get a matchup between 2nd and 3rd, as Vic was talking about earlier, between Leverkusen as they travel to take on Eintracht Frankfurt. And we'll talk more about that one in just a moment. And then on Sunday, Union Berlin get a matchup with bottom of the table Kiel. Both teams coming in off back-to-back losses, but Union are coming in hot after losing 6-0 to Dortmund. I mean hot as in mad, not hot as in good. So watch out, Kiel. They might be looking for some revenge. And then it's a mid-table Augsburg team welcoming top 4 opponent Freiburg to town. I definitely didn't see Freiburg being top 4 at this point of the season going into this season, but here we are, and they could get their 5th win in a row if they take care of business in Augsburg. Okay, now let's talk about the match that we were just alluding to, Bayer Leverkusen versus Eintracht Frankfurt. And both sides are coming in off recent disappointing matchups against table toppers Bayern Munich. And while this matchup doesn't necessarily have title implications, and you might be thinking, how can a matchup between second and third in the table not have it? Second and third. Of course there is. Well, let me tell you why, Vic. Let me tell you, because no Bundesliga title challenger has ever come back from 8 points down to snatch the title ever. So it's never happened. And the way that Bayern are playing domestically, it's not looking like this season's going to change that. But for some reason, this matchup's important, I think, more so for Eintracht. And I'll tell you why. First off, they need to recover recover some dignity, I guess, or however you want to phrase that. But they need to get some dignity back after their embarrassing loss in Munich last weekend. But secondly, they're only 3 points back from Freiburg in 4th, and there's a whole slew of teams that are lingering right outside of that. They're only trying to gain these points back, but then they lose every once in a while. You get what I'm saying? So it's really not conducive for them. We like that word, to be dropping points, and they know that, because 3 points and they can be caught up by Freiburg and end up in 5th, and then they can end up in 6th, because all these teams are really close, as we were just looking at. So you got to build that gap up. You have to. And yeah, Leverkusen are great, but if you're a team that's going to be right up there with them, then prove it. And I've said that multiple times, and they haven't done it, so I don't know. But either way, for Leverkusen, there's also 8 points. They're 8 points ahead of Eintracht in the table, so a draw or a loss, it's really not the worst thing in the world. But I think that the big picture for Leverkusen is that they need momentum, because they go into the Champions League round of 16 matchup against none other than the mighty Bayern Munich. And we know Leverkusen are coming to play in this matchup. But if after getting pretty much all the tactics and everything wrong last weekend, Eintracht Frankfurt are going to be, I'm hoping anyway, looking to get on the right foot and play how they usually do, which is going forward and attacking. Because if they do, this could be a really fun matchup between two teams that love to go forward and two teams that have a lot of attacking prowess and a lot of people that are very dangerous with the ball. So anyway, I'm excited to watch this one. I think that Leverkusen probably get it done, but man, Eintracht, they're not an easy team to get a win over unless you're Bayern Munich. So anyway, Vic, what do you think of this?
Yeah, I think I got Leverkusen on this one. Eintracht hasn't been the same since, getting rid of not getting rid of
the definitely best, got
the second best, second best Egyptian in the world, Marmouche, and I just don't see them fully recovering. And honestly, if you were asking me right now, even though they got 2 wins in their past 6, I don't know if they're going to stay in the top 4. Just the way they've been looking ever since. So I got Leverkusen on this one. Yeah. Yes. Yeah. Exactly. So I got Leverkusen on this one. And I don't even think it's gonna be close. I'm gonna say 3-0.
Ooh, okay. I can't give a defense for Eintracht after seeing what I've seen the past few matches. So I think Leverkusen get the win too. I wasn't thinking 3-0, but damn, I think they can get a 2-0, 1-0, something like that. But either way, if Eintracht get on that horse and they start going forward, this could be a lot of fun to watch it. And looking forward to it.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, that does it for the Bundesliga. I think now it's time to recap.
Yes, sir. We had a midweek matchup, so we can go ahead and go to the Prem. And we're not going to go too deep into this. We're just kind of take a look at the table, or not the table, the results. We're going to bring that up. Kind of talk about it. What kind of surprised you, Snooze? What was the match you were watching this weekend?
So
we didn't practice this. Yeah,
we were talking about it though going into this midweek match madness. But Brighton and Bournemouth was the one I was watching on Tuesday, and I was expecting to see Bournemouth kind of getting back on track against a team in Brighton who have been pretty decent recently. That's a weird way
recently.
to put that. But either way, Bournemouth couldn't get it done. Brighton beat them 2-1, and Brighton looked like the team that's more than likely going to be pushing them for that top 4 spot now, or at least European place, I'll say, not top 4. And then the other matchups, I mean, we had a lot of really good matchups, but the ones that surprised me, as you called out, 4-1 Palace over Aston Villa. That's crazy because Villa had looked great recently. I mean, how they play Liverpool, how they played them, and then lose 4-1 to Palace. You know what I mean? That's crazy.
Yeah, they went off. They did that thing. It was pretty cool. It was a good weekend of football too. But the one game that we did call out on the look ahead was Nottingham Forest and Arsenal, and that was 0-0. We don't even talk about those. We're not even supposed to talk about those.
Arsenal are sad right now, man. They are not in the title race anymore, so they're just like, whatever, it doesn't matter. Of course, your boys Liverpool getting a 2-0 win is awesome too. And then City beating Spurs. I have no idea, watching that match in full, how there's only one goal in it.
I know.
I mean, it should have been like 5-3 City, but it's a 1-0. And it is what it is. It is what it is.
You had your chances at the end there.
I know what I'm saying.
I don't know.
Both ways.
Yeah.
I can't believe it's 1-0. Like, the odds of that being 1-0 at the end of it are probably way, way worse than it was for like 5-3, something like that. So, but it was good fun week midweek madness is what I'm saying.
I will say on the Liverpool match, we did get lucky twice. Newcastle didn't have Usyk, right? It's Usyk, Alexander Usyk. Isak, that's right. Usyk is a boxer. That's a boxer. Yeah, that's a boxer.
Damn, he was out there. Yeah.
They didn't have him, and the Newcastle striker missed 2 pretty wide open shots that could have probably went in. So I will say we were a little bit lucky on that part. I think, he would have buried those, but but we just would have scored more goals. That would have been the only thing. Yeah.
2 more points ahead, and was that like 13 points, 11 points now? I don't even know what's ahead.
Yeah, the rest of the league has a game in hand though, except for Aston Villa. But it's we're sitting pretty right now. Liverpool's sitting pretty.
Well, speaking of sitting pretty, show us where they looking what that table looked like.
Yes, let me show you the prettiest thing here. We got Liverpool on top. They have 67 points. Again, they do have one game, or they're a game ahead of everybody else when they played Aston Villa for a match day 29 makeup. Yeah, something happened in match day 29 for us. So we played that game. We are 13 points ahead of Arsenal, who have 54 points in the number 2 spot. They just came off a draw with Nottingham Forest, obviously. Nottingham Forest in the number 3 spot with 48 points. And then Manchester City still hanging around with 47 points. Coming off that win, I was really rooting for Tottenham there, but they come out.
Me too, man.
Yeah. Tickling our top 4 is Chelsea with 46 points, just 1 point behind Manchester City. Also coming out with the win, as we said earlier. Chelsea looked really good this past weekend. If we look at the bottom of the table, Ipswich Town is the first team in the relegation zone with 17 points. They are the first losers, as we say. Tied with them is Leicester with 17 points as well. And then at the bottom, I still took away their shield because they do not deserve it. Poor 9 points for Southampton. We texted a little bit, or I messaged you guys earlier. We were talking about how bad Southampton is, and then they just got beat 4-0. I was like, oh my God, this might be the worst performance ever. I don't know. I gotta do the research on that, but it's looking really bad. Yeah.
9 points out of, I mean, that it's crazy to be that bad.
Yes.
They've had
20. Just real quick, they had 27 games. They've scored 22 goals. So, like, you so know when you go and watch them, they're probably not going to score.
Probably not going to score. You're like, God, it's not fun.
Yeah, I mean, there's some worse ones, but yeah.
I remember.
19 goals. They scored 19 goals, not 22.
Oh, 19.
It's even worse.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah, horrible. Oh yeah, I can barely see. You have eagle eyes. I don't. So 19. But I remember the first year of Austin FC where there was like, we waited like 5 matches for a goal. So I can't imagine being in the Prem and like getting your ass whooped every week and like not seeing goals either. It's just not even worth it.
Crazy.
That battle. Will you pull that table up one more time, sir? Sorry, I was just going to say one more thing. If you look at the top 4, though, I guess maybe not the top 4, but if you think about the way that the coefficient's going to end this season, with Italy teams being knocked out pretty much, well, not all of them. I think Lazio and Inter are still in Europe, but everyone else got knocked out. So it's almost assured that the Prem and another league is going to have 5 spots in the Champions League. And so this graphic, I mean, obviously we don't know yet. That's why the graphic is, because that's how it's supposed to be. But anyway, my point was, if the 5th place is Champions League, then I mean, look at Chelsea, Newcastle, Bournemouth, Brighton, Fulham, Villa. I mean, like, it is
1 point,
so close.
Maybe 4 points, yeah,
within a couple of points of each other. But either way, if the top 7 are going to be in Europe because of how the Europa and the Conference League fall, I mean, there could be a lot of good teams fighting for these places going into the end of the season. Anyway, just getting excited about it.
Looking good.
Okay. Well, I think that's it. We've said it all. Vic, take us home.
That's right. Again, like and subscribe. It's the best way to promote us and help us out. And be sure to follow us on all of our socials. But we will let y'all to it, and y'all enjoy the weekend, or y'all enjoy the football this weekend. Enjoy the weekend, this football. And we will talk to you soon.
Peace.